There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat-panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Sound Art is elegantly hidden behind a high-grade, textured canvas wrap, bringing together the best of sound and art. This innovative design allows for a truly invisible, high-fidelity sound experience without bulky speakers. For licensors and other businesses, we are capable of producing thousands of units per day.
We're using the highest quality materials to give you the best product available in the market. Everywhere you look, there's always art. What I like so much about Sound Art, that you could just pair it and play.
Ansia, your art never sounded so good.
Indycar racing is traditionally a series that only races in the United States of America, and on the very off chance, sometimes swinging up north into Canada. That is no longer the case, though, as the Ultimate IndyCar Cup sees for the first time a swing into European territory for round number 3 of 50. Welcome to the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, here in Spain. Harold Donovan is looking to be the driver to beat so far all season long. He is now 10 points clear of Benny Johnson, with Stephen Colon rounding out the top 3 in points so far. Brandon Mayhew is 4th, and it is about a 20-point deficit from first on back to 5th place. So Harold Donovan is still the driver to beat up at the top end of the championship standings as we swing on over into Spain for what should be a very entertaining third race on the season. The second race at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval saw us go to caution flags for the first 2 times all season long, when you had 2 major incidents, one at turn 1 The other one up at the backstretch chicane. We're going to take a quick on board here with Brian Grigsby as he throttles his way down in turn number 1, down what is one of the longest straights in the season. Going to get held up a little bit by some lap traffic just out of pit road as we dice our way out of turn number 3 and down in towards turn number 4. Once again, hard on the brakes, down to about 120 kph before you start to throttle it right back up again and dive back down the hill as you see a little bit more traffic that could potentially impede this warm-up lap here as he starts to get his thing underway. And now you get set to cycle your way on up through this fast right-hand sweeper down what would be one of 2 DRS straights, but here today, these drivers will be having to use all of the draft that they possibly can to get themselves a solid run up the inside of one of those other drivers down into the braking zone on the tightest corner of the track at La Caixa, and now up through Sabadell into the final sector on this racetrack through Europcar, which will be the right-hand kick in just a moment, and then, of course, the rack chicane, the final chicane on the racing circuit before you exit through New Holland and out onto the pit straightaway once again. And that is going to be a relatively easy lap then around the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And here you're right aboard now with Peter Granson, top driver in the timing boards, but he is going to get a little bit checked up by the likes of Andrew Lemke, I believe that was, as he cycles his way on through. Brian Grigsby proved that he has got Peter Granson, proved that he's got some speed. He proved this at Iowa. He also proved this at the Charlotte Roval. He is looking to prove it again here in Barcelona. Just under 4 minutes left to go in a 10-minute warm-up session from the Spanish circuit located in Montebello, Barcelona, and this is going to be one exciting race. 21 laps, I believe it is, getting set to kick off for us here in just a few moments. Down through La Caixa and then up into Sabadell once again. You can see this sector of the track just so tight, so twisty. And it's going to make overtaking a relatively difficult task around this circuit throughout the course of the day. I mean, that randomized grid could prove to be more vital than ever. He swings wide to try to avoid the likes of Brandon Mayhew as he dives through Holland and bombs it down the long front straightaway, and watch that speedometer start to climb up into 6th gear, and then hitting the top speeds as he sets the new fast time in the warm-up session here up to 290 kilometers an hour. You gotta watch for that lockup though. So easy to send you wide through turn 1. Peter Granson though gonna be doing a solid job, hopefully throughout the course of this race, to put himself up on the top of the board. There's Lance Callahan, one of the drivers to look out for, as well as Dirk Diggler in his DoorDash machine, one of those drivers that has not had the best of start so far all season, looking to change that here today, though currently in the warm-up times he is 5.3 seconds off. We'll have to see if that will remain the same. It does not. He'll go 4th fastest, but obviously in warm-up sessions, the times are not really representative of what we could be seeing so far all race long. So who knows what we're going to be seeing here from this race, especially in this opening sector here. If he can go side-by-side through Elf, it almost guarantees side-by-side battles all the way into Repsol and possibly Seat at turns 4 and 5 later on in the lap. This is, of course, the 3rd race so far, as you see Lance Callahan getting a little bit racy with the likes of Andrew Lemke. And when we go back racing, it will be for round number 4 at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. And that is bound to be an entertaining race as well as we swing back stateside for some more oval racing action. And then round 5 to end off the first 10th of the season will be at the Daytona International Speedway Road Course at the World Center Racing, as Lance Callahan appears to have had a little bit of a problem here. And you see actually the wheel ripped off of that car, and oh my gosh, just got pulled apart by the curbing there. That is one thing we're going to have to definitely keep eyes out for here tonight, especially if that happens to a few more drivers throughout the course of this race. That could have been potentially disastrous. That wheel was right up just before Sabadell there, so who knows what we're going to be seeing here. That could prove to be a relatively difficult challenge for a lot of the drivers in this field. We're not going to be going International Raceway all the way until round 9, which will be at Knock Hill, and anybody that's raced around Knock Hill knows track that is not necessarily designed for IndyCar racing. It's time, though, for the starting grid. Richard Woods on pole position. Lance Callahan beside him on the front row. Then it's Stephen Colon and Harold Donovan on row 2. Nathan Christensen is 5th with Brandon Mayhew in 6th. Josiah Remus is 7th. Hank Hill is 8th. Jim Halbert is 9th. Di Ringler rounds out the top 10. And on row 6 with those two drivers, Granson, it's Clark, then it's Lemke, Russell, Waggles, Dad, Johnson, Dangler, Tyler, Thompson, Byers, Wiggins, Ormond, James Parrish to round out the field here from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. So there is your top groupings with Dwight Schrute, Dirk Diggler on row number 6. And once again, your championship standings entering tonight's race. And already 10 points separate the top 3, but it is it's almost 30 points between 1st and 5th. So far, you've still got about 4 or 5 drivers that have yet to score points on the boards, and 4 drivers among those that have scored points that have yet to hit double digits. So a lot of these drivers are going to be looking to potentially have a solid running here tonight from this 21-lap race. And now, all we have to do is wait for those starting lights. You'll look forward into from now and round number 10. And I have to say, one of the races I'm looking forward to the most is going to be at none other than the Southern National Motorsports Park and at Knock Hill, rounds 9 and 10. Got yourself under half-mile oval, and then, of course, one of the shortest racetracks you can find on the iRacing surface, so you're bound to have a lot of solid racing there and potentially some interesting moments, so to speak. And now we just wait for the lights as we get set to go racing. Richard Wood doesn't get a good launch. Here comes Stephen Colon looking to make it 3 wide. Wood covers him off, though, down the front straightaway as the lights go out. Lance Callahan trying to have a look, and that's going to allow Richard Wood to pull clear down in the turn number 1 at Elf. And Richard Wood is clear by about 4 car lengths through these opening couple of corners. You see Nathan Christensen slipping back in 5th position. Lance Callahan's trying to keep Stephen Colon at bay. Single file out just about all the way through the field. Colon looking to take the high side around Lance Callahan down into Repsol at turn number 4. Callahan trying to hold strong, but Colon will not be denied. He's going to rip the high side and pull clear. And right behind him, points a leader, Harold Donovan, looking to score some more points here tonight. He looks to dive it down and in as well. Brandon Mayhew gets up and past Nathan Christensen into Seat as the field continues to jockey for position deeper on in this field. Coming up around through Worth and up to Copsa now. And you look up to Brandon Mayhew and Nathan Christensen in the battle for 5th place. Up through the right-hand sweeper and down this long, long straightaway down to La Caixa for the first of 21 times today. Richard Wood still clear by about a second from Stephen Colon. And that gap only starting to grow as you see the field continuing to duke it out deeper in the field between Grigsby, Orman, Waggles, and Thompson. All were going side by side up until La Caixa. Look out for the likes of the number 20 machine trying to find the high side. That's Josiah Remus, in the 7-0, trying to find his way around. Will Parrish, I think, has had a big off, and he has had an off. We're going to take a look at this one here. This was out through La Caixa coming up into Sabadell. You're looking at him right now. Oh, it was contact with the 91, and that's going to send the 19 or the 18 car around, but no caution. We're going to keep this thing green, but I believe that was David Byers that got into it with Will Parrish. You see the number 11 car altogether. Sorry, that was Will Parrish that went around. It was Christian Russell in the 18 that got initially spun around. And now, on lap number 2, Richard Wood leads the way, 2.67 seconds clear. He is looking to potentially get a walk-off win here. You look back to Callahan, who's trying to close up to Mayhew. Mayhew duking it out with Stephen Colon. Here's a side-by-side battle, though, that was up into the braking zone. And it's Christensen and Byers who are going to scrap it out. Sorry, Josiah Remus and Nathan Christensen looking to duke it out. But Remus, off course, way off course, and does he hit the wall? I think he just kept it out of the barriers there. Up through Seat, it is starting to already kick off big time here for the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Nathan Christensen has got him as well. That's up and worth, and I think he just keeps it out of the barriers as well. But he's going to have to be careful. Rejoining the circuit up towards Copsa, and he's going to get on just in time. And all of that has allowed the top 5 to break away by about 4 seconds from the rest of the field. And here's a replay of what happened to Christian. Just locked up too deep into Worth. And so lucky that it didn't go slamming into the guardrails there, as trouble for the 79 potentially. Peter Granson, you can see, slipping back. Brandon Mayhew just passed up Granson, and now Russell's trying to look at the inside dive ring. He's going to get that done. Oh, too wide! Up over the sausage curbs goes Christian Russell, and he is going to be tumbling down the order. Can't find a safe place to rejoin, and might have broken something on the car as well. He'll have to wait for the entire field to go by at this rate. And just there, finally gets set to go. Dwight Schrute, meanwhile, into pit road. Shades of the first race when he had problems early on. Here's Jim Halpert duking it out with Cologne. Cologne's too deep, though, and he's way off. And Hank Hill, way too deep into the braking zone. Hill comes back on just in time. But Hank Hill duking it out with Jim Halpert in a fierce scrap for P number 6 on the racetrack. And Halpert going to take the high side out through Repsol and down into Sayat, but there's nothing so far that he's able to do. What a race we're having here in Spain for round number 3 of the Ultimate IndyCar Cup. As you look further down the order to the lights of the 91, Dusty Waggles up the inside of Roger James, trying to get one up on Andrew Lemke as well, which it looks like he will do. And all the while, Hank Hill starts to tumble down the order, and that's coming around through Worth. We're going to get a view of what happened here in just a brief moment, and you should see him potentially stopped on the racetrack. And there he is, Hank Hill, now down 12 and continuing to drop down positions. Did he hit the wall at Worth? From that side-on jump we had, the front wing looked to be good, so I don't think he got that. I think he just locked up and went too deep into the braking zone. We'll take another look at this one real quick. Yep, sure enough, just like what Christensen did. Locked up, went deep, avoided the barriers, but lost a lot of time as a result. And more problems for Dusty Waggles as well. We're going to take a look at another replay here. This is out of La Caixa coming up towards Sabadell. Oh, just ripped that front left up part of the curbs, just like Callahan did in the warm-up session. And that's going to put a premature end to Dusty Waggles' day. As you look back to the likes of Jim Halpert looking to duke it out at the moment with Peter Granson, and up the road, here is Harold Donovan. He's caught Richard Wood and is now looking to take the high side. The 90 car shoving him out, though. They almost bang wheels once and twice into the braking zone of Sad. Donovan holds the inside line. Richard Wood's trying to fight the long way around, and he holds on for the time being. What a valiant defense here as Isaac Clark way off at Repsol. He'll come back on but lose a few positions as a result. Down to P12 now. But what a defense from Richard Wood in the fight for the race lead. And now starting to open up a gap once again. I think Harold Donovan burned some of his stuff up. That gap is extending out now to another second. And that has bought Richard Wood a lot of breathing time. So Wood, I think we'll have to start to focus on up here, and he's going to have to put in everything he needs to in order to get himself a solid race win here tonight. But Donovan already closing in just the last couple of corners alone, closes in 0.7 of a second. And at this rate, looking set to have a lunge up into turn number 1. Wood looking to cover him off. You can see the likes of Mayhew and Cologne duking it out for third place just in behind. And in both battles, neither driver close enough to have a look up into turn number 1. Jim Halpert is in the pit road. This is on lap number 5, and I believe this is going to be for just about scheduled stops on the day. And Donovan's just past Richard Wood for the race lead up in front. That was up through the top of Renault and down to the Repsol, and now Donovan will get set to pull away. We'll take a look at what happened here. Donovan just took the outside line away and just sweep clear, and Richard Wood could not do a whole lot to defend against that. He'll try his best to get him back, but I think that is it for Richard Wood's short-lived time up in the race lead. He'll have to focus on defense now. Keep the likes of Brandon Mayhew at bay. Halpert still sitting in pit road, so is the likes of Dusty Waggles. You look back to Lance Callahan trying to close up to Stephen Cologne, who himself is in a bit of a scrap with Brandon Mayhew just up in front of him. You saw Harold Donovan having a bit of an off. That was actually up at La Caixa, but seems like no harm, no foul for him. Still holds a 2.6 second lead and growing. Let's look a bit further down the order. This is the battle for 13th. Dirk Diggler trying to keep Brian Grigsby, Nathan Norman, and Roger James all at bay in his DoorDash number 82 down into the braking zone of that hairpin. And at the moment, Grigsby looking to maybe take the high side away, out through Sabadell and up towards Indycar, but gets shut out as the 82 just slammed the door shut, and they duck into the rack chicane, but there's not going to be any moves being made side by side through there. Just doesn't work out, but maybe on the exit, if there's a mistake like that again from Grigsby, Nathan Norman thought about going for the punch. And looking at something that happened to Hank Hill here, this was out of campsite by La Caixa. This would be an unforced error. Oh, that's too deep and locking up big time on the brakes, having to swing wide all the way through the runoff area back on course, but looks like all good for the number 30 car. So with that one, look a little bit further back up the road, and Dingler's just been passed up not once but twice. Roger James has just passed him up as well. There's Major Dad in his efforts to try to catch Josiah Remus. But here's a much more pressing battle. The battle for second place. Mayhew's closing in on Richard Wood. Will it be a battle delay brings into the braking zone? I think it will. But Richard Wood just keeps ahead of Brandon Mayhew for the time being. But you know that that can only last for so long. Oh, and how about that for a bit of an outside lunge for Richard Wood to take the apex away, and that is seriously checked up the likes of Brandon Mayhew. Donovan's into pit road. Here comes everybody in the top 5 so far, all coming down into pit lane for scheduled pit stops on the day. This is exactly what I think some of these guys further to the back were hoping for. Oh, there's a lunge. The 29 of Ron Dangler up the inside of Christian Russell. That doesn't go anywhere, though. So the top 11 now all coming down into pit road. Will there be more as Carter Thompson tries the outside of Dangler? Dangler's too deep. Up and over the sausage curbs. He'll knock out cones and come back on right in front of traffic. Talk about an unsafe rejoin. He cannot make it to pit road. He'll have to stay out and find the long way around, but he's got the 92 just breathing down his neck of Austin Tyler, who's going to get through. And all the while, Donovan continues to maintain his race lead as Schrutz off the course at Worth. Still having more problems than we've seen for a lot of the drivers in this field. It is not going so well. There's the number 8 car, Betty Johnson, who is sorely checking up everybody in this group behind. Look at the side-by-side fight between Byers and Tyler at the moment. This is a fierce, fierce fight between the two of them, and you know that this is all going to end in potential disaster for these drivers if they don't get themselves sorted in a big hurry. So how are we looking for the time being then with some of these drivers up near the front of this field, right? I mean, these are the guys that could be duking it out near the end of this race, and all the while, you've got people that have already pitted just in behind, and I'm not so sure these guys up in this top group and in the top 10 so far have yet pitted on the day. Seen now a good chunk of the field, though, starting to split apart. It's really just this one big train of cars that got battling now with each other. And there is a look. The 7-3 of David Byers having a big moment and the big wiggle down the middle of the straightaway while trying to get around Austin Tyler. All the while, Lance Callahan, Brandon Mayhew looking to trade hands. Callahan taking the outside and shuts the door on Brandon Mayhew, who's going to try to follow him on those prime tires. Primes versus options, right? I mean, this is, I think, a big talking point so far in this race. These tires, compounds do have some different uses to them. Of course, those option tires, the red ring ones that Lance Callahan has, the alternates, those tires are better in the short run, don't last well over a long run. But with shorter fuel runs of only about 6-7 laps, that, of course, means that could be very, very crucial to how these races could potentially play on out. Tyler, Byers, Wiggins, Christensen, all into pit road. And there's a look on the outside line. Diane Ringler trying to take it away from Betty Johnson, but can't get there on the entry to turn number 3. And here's the scrap for 21st place with Will Parrish, Christian Russell, and Nathan Norman all duking it out amongst themselves. Almost 3 wide down the front straightaway. Christian Russell trying to take the outside line away from the likes of Will Parrish down into the braking zone of turn 1 at Elf, but it's not going to be enough. You see gravel tracks over in the runoff area of turn 1, so somebody's at a major off at the first corner of the racetrack. There's the number 76 car, Connor Wiggins, just tucked in the middle. He just exited pit road and checks up this field slightly, but he'll cycle to the back. And problems for Richard Wood, potentially. This was out through Kempson down to Lakaisa. What has happened to the number 90 car up into the hairpin? Whoa, way too deep on the brakes, my friend. And that sends him swing all the way almost around to turn number 1 before coming back on track at Lakaisa. He's lost a good chunk of spawns, but a lucky man to keep that one out of the barriers. He's down to P8 now as Christian Russell now off course at Worth. He'll come back on track with no incident. But slowing now. One is something broke on that car. Starting to slow. Oh, he runs into the back of the 29 car who is just stopped. And what is happening here? Ron Dangler is stopped on course just off the racing line. Betty Johnson also going off at turn 1. And that's going to cause Diane Ringler to close right on in. Looks like the incident is going to be cleared away here in just a moment. Dangler has been managed to be evacuated from the racetrack, and so has Christian Russell. A strange incident, though. Here's your fight for third. Mayhew and Callahan duking it out for the final podium position on the racetrack. All the while, still got your fight for 8th between Richard Wood, Major Dad, Josiah Remus, and Isaac Clark. Richard Wood. Oh, Richard Wood's in the wall! Wood's put himself in the wall! And big problems with the number 90 car. Your pull center on today into the wall and out of the race, most likely. Take a look at the replay. Unforced error, way deep on the brakes. Can't turn the car in the sand and just noses it hard into the barriers. Devastating there for Richard Wood, who was looking set for some very solid points on the day. What would have been his best points finish all season long. And now can only sit as he tumbles well out of the points from here. All the while, you can see these battles on the racetrack amongst each other in relation to each other, and so far there's not been a whole lot as Cologne now is off in the first corner. Rejoins at turn 2 right before Renault. We'll check back in on your fight for the 5th position between Betty Johnson and Diane Ringler, which is still looking to potentially develop big time. Ringler taking the outside away into the braking zone, locks up. And Betty Johnson tried to fight back on the low side, but there was just no hope through Repsol, and I think Ringler will have that one out through Seat and down into Worth. On the while, you've got other battles developing. You got Byers, Tyler, and Hill all in a scrap for 17th, 18th, and 19th on the racetrack. Hank Hill just breezed past David Byers on the front straightaway, and Austin Tyler off course and hopping over chicanes. Or sausage curbs, I should say. Oh, and problems for Connor Wiggins, who has gone off. And where is this? That's a turn 1. Wiggins with a huge off of turn 1, completely missing the breaking point, locks up, and just like Richard Wood, too deep in the sand and noses that into the barrier. Cars are starting to drop like flies left and right. You see Roger James trying to take the outside away from Brian Grigsby. Goodness gracious. I mean, this is just getting all sorts of hectic for the time being. I mean, it just doesn't end, does it? It's non-stop action from start to finish from what we're seeing so far, and nothing is looking to go away just yet. This is on board with Isaac Clark. Whoa, there is a lockup for Josiah Remus through turn 1, and that should allow an opportunity for Clark to start to close the distance a little bit. As Stephen Cologne way off at turn number 5. Seat The Pennzoil number 2. Sorry, the Pennzoil number 16 was well off and into the runoff area. That has cost him significant time there. Donovan is now 13 seconds clear in the race lead. There's the fight between Hank Hill and Nathan Orman now down in the turn number 1. Will they go side by side? They will try it, and Nathan Orman gets past Hill. He's trying to make a look now around Andrew Lemke. Tries for the inside. Up at turn 3 and lunges for Lemke. Didn't see it coming. And Nathan Orman goes through. Here goes Hill. He'll try to follow suit. Hill will easily take advantage of that one. Now Orman defends. Hill doesn't know where to go. Takes the high side around and has to just end up following the likes of Hank Hill. One car way off. It's Will Parrish off again in turn number 4. Repsol will take a replay of this one real quick. It's once again the same story of way deep, and that's a huge hit. The hardest hit we've had all season so far. Will Parrish trying to eject some tires on the racing circuit all the while. Remus off course. Oh, it's a pile-up with Dwight Schrute along the number 8 car. Getting collected in this one as well. What on earth has happened here? Betty Johnson is trapped there. They're blocking the pit entry lane at the moment. The 96 gets through. Here comes Grigsby. They're going to get ejected before the safety car can be thrown. But what a battle we are having so far. I mean, it is just pandemonium on the racetrack right now. Technically, we would have gone to our halfway commercial break by now, but there's just too much going on to cut away. As now the 68 of Andrew Lemke runs wide. And he'll miss pit entry as a result. Nathan Orman is trying to close in. Grigsby and James are both in pit row. Meanwhile, there's Austin Tyler. It just does not stop from Spain. Andrew Lemke is off turn 1. He'll rejoin safe and sound. I'll put him under heavy fire though from David Byers, who will no doubt take the outside lane away as Lemke's got to slow down to serve. Oh, he's not going to let Byers have it so easily though. And it looks like Byers will take it here though on the exit of turn number 4. Oh boy, Nathan Orman has gone off into sand as well. I imagine similar stories we've seen so far. Locked up and went deep. Callahan, race leader, is into pit road. Major Dad will follow suit. Big lock for Stephen Colon, but he keeps it on the course. He's got to look out for Brandon Mayhew. Just tucked in behind him here. We're expecting everybody so far in this top grouping to be coming on down within the next 2-3 laps or so. Isaac Clark getting passed up on pit exit. Taking a replay for Ron Dangler. Lakaiksa. I'm going to guess too deep on the brakes. Yep. Locks him up. Swings it wide. Gets back on course. No harm, no foul. And now Ron Dangler with some problems up at the final chicane. Looks like he had a bit of a spin. Oh, that's into New Holland. What on earth has happened here and transpired for Ron Dangler? We'll take a look at this replay real quick. And taking a big slide, it would seem. Just clip the sausage curbs there. And as we continue to watch these battles duking themselves out as this race continues, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You won't miss a thing, though. Side by side in Barcelona.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Sound art is elegantly hidden behind a high-grade, textured canvas wrap, bringing together the best of sound and art. This innovative design allows for a truly invisible, high-fidelity sound experience without bulky speakers. For licensors and other businesses, we are capable of producing thousands of units per day.
We're using the highest quality materials to give you the best product available in the market. Everywhere you look, there's always art. What I like so much about sound art, that you could just pair it and play.
Ansia, your art never sounded so good.
Still waiting for some of these battles to develop. Here's the one for 6th place between Granson and Josiah Remus. And you saw as we went to commercial break, Remus was really looking to hound the back end of Peter Granson. But Granson, having none of it, blocked him all the way down to the pit wall. But now he's looking set to pull away with that 6th position as a mistake from Remus out through Lakaisa towards Sabadell costs him about a second. 6 laps to go with the line this time by. Here's a fierce scrap. Grigsby, Halpert, Tyler, Byers, all in the same position at the moment, or all fighting for similar positions, but Halpert is a lap down to the mix of all this. He'll move aside to let Grigsby through, but it might have been too little too late. Leaving it a 2-horse race between Byers and Tyler tried to look up into the rack chicane, but there was nothing doing. They're both going to come to pit road this time by. That's a fight that'll be settled out in the pit stops then. Remember, it was Byers to enter first, Tyler to enter second, James and Dusty Waggles both having slight offs on the racing circuit. There's Cologne getting past Christensen, who's a lap down, and Brandon Mayhew is just tucked in behind him. But Mayhew going to get really held up behind Christensen, and that's going to cost Mayhew to definitely lose the draft of Stephen Cologne up in front. On board with Mayhew, and you can see Stephen Cologne right up in front of him. There's Isaac Clark. 8th place driver, also trying to close to Josiah Remus, you can see right here. And Remus himself, about 2 seconds or so, 2.5 seconds or so behind Peter Granson. You can see just up the road, he's the first car in line. Remus trying to do everything to see if he can maybe get up and secure a potential top 5 position. There's pit strategy so far for some of the guys further down the field. Everybody up in the top 10 has already come down to pits. We expect that'll be the last pit stops on the day for a lot of drivers in this field. By 14, they're on board with Angel Lemke. 6/10 behind the likes of David Byers, and even further behind is Benny Johnson with Austin Tyler. And Johnson taking the outside line and gets cut off by Austin Tyler. All the while, there you see Richard Wood is back on course after going off into the wall at Seat. And Richard Wood is trying to find his way through to maybe regain some lost time, but overall, he'll have to stick it in behind and just wait for this battle to sort itself out, no matter how much faster he is. Oh, there it is! Benny Johnson outside line, up in a Europe car, takes the outside line away through the right-hand canyon towards the rack chicane. You talk about an aggressive move as he hops over the sausage curbs. Oh, and Cologne's up and over! Stephen Cologne has rolled it, coming around through Lakaisa. What has happened here? Oh, contact with Mayhew! Sends Cologne upside down on his lid up into Sabadell. Take a look at this one here. Cologne just pinched in. Mayhew, nothing Mayhew could have done. And Peter Granson, I think, has had it off. Saw him just coming back on track. But that is huge for Stephen Cologne. One of the drivers that has been most consistent up in front all season long. I imagine that will put an end to Stephen Cologne's day. Big lockup there for Josiah Rivas, who are looking towards the back end. That is Peter Granson starting to close in for the top 5 positions. So rear view cameras are just amazing things to see. See Granson closing in all the time. 1.4 seconds between them for the time being. Here's Betty Johnson. This is the closest and largest group of battles he got on track for the time being as Roger James is into pit road. And there's a lunge around. That was David Byers getting around Andrew Lemke. Coming around through Sabadell. Talk about wanting to make that pass work, and he did so perfectly. Brian Grigsby has gone off big time at turn 4 in a Repsol, and the tire tracks suggest to me he might have just nicked the barrier. Not enough would seem to knock off his front wing if he hit it at all. We are 5 to go. Race leader Brandon Mayhew is now into pit road. That will give Harold Donovan back the race lead. There is Brian Grigsby now up in front, and he has got Dirk Diggler just behind him in the fight for 9th. Diggler in his DoorDash 82 trying to take the outside line, and the Nerd Tech machine of Brian Grigsby holding the inside so far of Sabadell and looking to power out through the final sector and see if he can pull away enough that Diggler can't get him down the front straightaway. Oh, Diggler tried it into the rack chicane, but couldn't get on the brakes in time. And they're both going to come down to the pit road. And how about that? Just in behind is, I believe, going to be the likes of Hank Hill. So we will watch patiently to see how this is going to play out here for this last round of pit stops. Grigsby switching from silver-ringed tires to red-ringed tires, which will be good because there's only 4 laps to go, and he is out by a long way from the likes of Betty Johnson just in behind. Here comes the 10th place driver, David Byers, closing in rapidly on Diggler. He just passed up Hank Hill. And there it is. Byers taking the outside from Dirk Diggler. As Austin Tyler's gone off big time in a turn 1 and knocked the front nose cone off of the car, wing and all. And once again, way deep on the brakes and just slamming into the wall. Man, what is with these drivers at this track in particular? So many of them just going way too deep on the brakes. Just running over curves just kills their cars. There's a lunge. Diggler the inside of David Byers. That's in a Worth, and Byers fights the outside, and Diggler loses out several tenths as a result, but he'll be able to close them back in, no doubt, if David Byers starts to duke this out with Brian Grigsby, like I suspect he will. 2 tenths, closing 10.5. There it is! Deeper on the brakes. Byers around the outside, cutting it on in. Grigsby can't get the nose back in there, but will have it as they sling their way up to Sabadell. But Byers cuts him off. And there's no room for Grigsby to fight back. David Byers is clear for 8th. And now you can see Dirk Diggler hopping up a little bit over the curbing, slinging their way down through the rack chicane for lap number 19. 3 laps to go for this small grouping. Going to be 2 laps to go in just a moment. I want to point out every driver up to 12th place so far has been lapped by race leader Harold Donovan, who's just on fire so far today. It's 2 to go for the race leaders. But these battles have definitely still yet to be settled. At the moment, these guys that you see on your screens are the only ones on track that are actively fighting with each other. A big lockup there for David Byers will cost him a bit of time, but not enough. There's a look! Outside line for Dirt Diggler to get around Brian Grigsby. And that puts Diggler just one spot further up inside the top 10. It's not over yet, though. Grigsby looking for the inside, up into Worth, but Diggler's just that little bit deeper on the brakes, and he's going to get it done. What a run that these guys have had so far in this field, and they are still not done battling it out. Whoa, and a big lock there for Isaac Clark, and this could cost him a spot to Josiah Remus. Look at how much time he's losing. He's got to serve a slowdown penalty for that, and Richard Wood could play spoiler to all this. And there you see just going way wide, has to cut into the gravel. And that has allowed Remus to close on up 0.2 of a second, and it is shrinking. White flag has just flown for race leader Harold Donovan. We've still got all these battles that have yet to be settled. 4th and 5th is still close. 6th and 7th is what you're watching now. 9th and 10th just traded hands again. Peter Granson just made his way up into 4th place. Looking outside line for Josiah Remus. But Isaac Clark deeper on the brakes, almost too deep as he had a huge 2-tire front end lockup. And this is one battle that will rage on right to the bitter end. Clark is just destroyed whatever else his tires, locking up into pretty much every single braking zone there is. But looks like he's getting set to rocket away with this lead. Here's a look to the battle for 4th. Peter Granson and Major Dad up into turn number 1. Almost going side by side. Granson holds 4th. Major Dad will be down in 5th place for the time being, and the car just in line. 3rd one in line is not a factor. Race leader Harold Donovan rounding the last couple of corners now. Out onto the final sector. He locks up into your car, but don't worry, Harold, you have got nothing to worry about. Out through New Holland, and Harold Donovan wins round number 3 and goes back-to-back for rounds 2 and 3 in the Ultimate IndyCar Cup. Right in front of him is the fight for 10th. Dirt Diggler, Hank Hill looking to close that gap in. Hank is deeper on the outside line. He lunges forward and takes that spot away down to the turn number 1 on their final lap now of the race. One more battle in the top 10 and is yet to be settled. 6th and 7th place as well as Hill and Grigsby. There's the lunge. Remus deeper on the brakes outside line. Clark can't cut in and cover him off. And with how hard it is to overtake, I think you can tell Isaac Clark is backing it off. He has given up. And here's a look. Hank Hill, David Byers, still side by side, up in towards Worth and out through Sayat. And all while lap traffic is pressuring them as well. Got the likes of Hill, Byers, Grigsby, and Diggler all in one long line. And deeper on the brakes is Brian Grigsby. Is that too deep? Slows it down in time. I have a feeling that David Byers just didn't want to take any risks. Already set for a good points day. They're going to come around now through the final couple of corners. This is the last cars on track that you have to cross the line as well. And will there be a look? Not going to be close enough. Grigsby will hold on to a 9th place finish. With that, we'll go over the official post-race results here from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, on what was an absolutely epic race. Harold Donovan, your race winner. Brandon Mayhew was second, 26 seconds back. Then it's Lance Callahan around to the podium. Peter Granson and Major Dad were 4th and 5th. Then it's Remus, Clark, Hill, Grigsby, and Byers to round to the top 10. Dirt Diggler was the last driver on the lead lap. Nathan Orman was in 12th with Roger James in 13th. Angela Lemke was 14th with Nathan Christensen in 15th. Benny Johnson was in 16th place. Jim Halpern 17th. Then it's Richard Wood, Christian Russell, Stephen Cologne, Dwight Schrute, Diane Ringler, Austin Tyler, Connor Wiggins, Ron Dangler, Dusty Waggles, Will Parrish, Carter Thompson to round to the field. Parrish and Thompson both not finishing this race 11 and 15 laps down out of 21. We're going to see if we can't get your championship standings here, and this is how they shake up now. We want to thank everybody for taking the time to join us here tonight from Spain. We'll see you all next week stateside at the Worldwide Technology Raceway for more oval racing action in round 4 of the Ultimate IndyCar Cup.
There are moments that surprise and delight the mind and the senses. Introducing Sound Art, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. A revolutionary combination of incredible sound delivered from your most meaningful pictures. When art and technology intersect, there is a seamless blend of creativity and function.
Come alive in the streetlight, pulling at the stars in the moonlight. Every time I feel you close.
With Sound Art, anyone can print their own artwork or pick from numerous licensed artwork that we have. The possibilities are limitless. Enjoy beautiful and amazing sound throughout your home. The entire surface of your artwork generates incredibly robust sound. Sound Art is elegantly hidden behind a high-grade, textured canvas wrap, bringing together the best of sound and art. This innovative design allows for a truly invisible, high-fidelity sound experience without bulky speakers. For licensors and other businesses, we are capable of producing thousands of units per day.
We're using the highest quality materials to give you the best product available in the market. Everywhere you look, there's always art. What I like so much about Sound Art, that you could just pair it and play.
Ancia, your art never sounded so good.